G'day everyone, I'm your host Smile Pie, and today we're playing Railway Empire 2. So welcome back for part 3 of our series on chapter 1. Where we're up to is we're going to continue our rail line north from Portland up to Bangor. So we'll first need to build a station up in Bangor. So you'll remember previously we've already purchased the textile business and also the wool business, which will allow us to make our own material for clothing, for a future clothing industry. So, but first things first, I will start by placing the station for Bangor. So that will do us. So this should be pretty straightforward to build this one. I will turn on the topography as always. So we should have a nice straight run through here, mainly straight enough. Let's do our customary straight bit out of the station. See, this is that quirk that I'm talking about. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't understand why when you have some angles, it will not let you have a max speed for no apparent reason. That just doesn't make sense to me. But I'm not the font of all knowledge, so what I don't know, what I don't know won't hurt me, or will it? I don't know. The irony. So that is one portion built. Let's build the next one. So right into platform 2, build. So now we're going to need some gridirons. So there's one. We'll need a gridiron down the other end. That's 2. Good on us. We will also need a supply tower. So let's build a supply tower. We'll build it bang in the middle. Now, at this point in time, I don't have any intention of connecting to this sugar farm because we've already got one down here where the game got us to. Now, while I've zoomed out, there is a bit of stuff going on here with our free trains that are coming from Green Rest. So I'll solve that problem in this video, but once we establish this this route here. So let's also build a maintenance depot up here because maintenance depots are good. So that's that one done. Now train between Portland and Bangor. So let's build one. So we'll have the express route. Let's do our naming convention. Portland to Bangor, very good. Let's pick the best train available, Mr. John Bull. We'll have one, it's an express. The destinations are set. We don't need to put on any special carriages or any changes there whatsoever. 18.5 grand for a train. Now we can take a look at the duration. So 10 days. So let's confirm that. If I was to go on to Portland and look at the passengers, Bangor, Montreal, look, all the volumes at this stage are really low, so we don't need to be too critical about passenger load limit analysis. But it's good to. I don't mind showing you guys in the video each time, but I don't think I'm going to go into detail every time. Otherwise, we'll all be here all bloody day. And as delightful as that is, I'm sure there's some of you in the crowd who just want me to come on, mate, get the bloody connection going. I don't have all day to listen to you tell me stuff I already know. Fair enough. So let's that's one connection done. Now we've got textiles that will come down to here. So if in theory, if Portland had a warehouse, we could have all those textiles brought down to to Portland, and then a freight train that operates between Portland and Boston would run them to Boston. So I think that's what we'll do in the long run. But first up, we will establish the Boston to Portland freight line. But let's check if I haven't already done that. That would be an F2 line. We don't have an F2 line from Boston to Portland. So you can see what I'm talking about when I do my naming convention. Yeah, each one's sorted by product. All the expresses are up the top because of E, and destinations are clearly visible. So you can always go and yeah, have a look at a glance and know what you're looking at. So let's establish an F2 between Boston and Portland. So and you'll see on the product availability for Boston are all of these items because we have the warehouse. And so later on, after we establish a Portland warehouse and have the material coming from Bangor, those other items that we store there will be present in Portland. So let's update the name. So we got F2, that John Bull 1 freight, that do we and for the F2 trains, for the general freight trains, I don't have them set to be fully loaded because you risk clogging up a platform while they wait for their load, and because it doesn't always happen. So especially in the early game where your demand volumes are really low, so you don't need to do that at the start. So let's not now. So that connection's established. That connection bonus will be collected as soon as the first train pulls into Bangor. Let's start game time for that, and we'll put it on. Let's go and solve this problem now. So this is another. Oops. This is another little quirk that needs to be solved. So this is a common problem that you may have, train waiting to be loaded for 4 weeks. And so you can see that these two trains, this one's still got another 2 carriages to put on. The other one still has another 5 carriages to put on. You might think, well, what's it waiting for? Maybe there's no supply in the logging camp itself. But as you can see, logging camp's backed up. It's got 30 bits of lumber waiting to go. So why is it doing this? Why haven't these trains loaded? Why haven't they chuffed off? And the reason is because the volume of timber, or wood in this case, is at capacity in their destination. So the train, because of the way the game, what would you call it? The game AI works. I hate the term AI, but let's set that aside. The game AI will not allow a train that's loaded with goods to come into a town where that good is already at capacity. So if we were to look at Portland's stock in the city, they've already got 6.6. They've got 6 on the way, which is on the train that's parked up back at the station because it's too full. They're only using 0.4 wood per week. So this is going to trickle down very slowly. And yeah, they won't actually call for this second train to turn up for quite a while. So hence it's sitting there and not doing anything. This is our cattle train, and it's waiting for one of these trains to just get out of the way, which it's not going to happen for ages. So we're stuffing up our meatworks down here by having these trains. So Smile Pie, what's the solution to this? Yes, you've articulated the problem very efficiently and perfectly. We all understand it. Your command of English is so good. Your accent is pristine. We all understand what you're saying and how you're saying it. How can you fix this problem? Well, the way I'm going to fix it is I'm going to cancel or delete the train to Portland. So, but won't that stop the wood supply? Well, actually, no, because the way it will work then is all the wood that Boston needs, it will take it from, or all the wood that Portland needs, they'll take it from the warehouse in Boston. So the wood train will keep running between this supply station in Boston, and then the F2 freight train that we've just built will run whatever goods Portland needs. They'll take them from Boston and run them up there. So beer, sugar, wood, grain, they'll all go on the F2 train and come up here. And then what's Portland doing for Boston? Nothing yet, but once we get material going and a warehouse going, then they'll start to, you know, be a bit more contributory to Boston. So let's do that. So let's just cancel this train. So goodbye, Portland Wood Train. You've been good for what, a month and a half in game time because I set it up so perfectly. And let's see. So we've got our livestock train coming in here now, so they'll take up a platform. Other ways to solve this problem, and you can see now that the wood train for Boston has just loaded up. Yeah, we unclogged that logistical blockage, and they're going to take off now. So our mad lads are cranking the wood train. They're bringing the wood to Boston. So good on them. Now we've got our cattle boys. They're loading up here. Oh, the bloody Sheila on the platform at the cattle train station, trying to check out the other mad lads, no doubt. So good on them. So this train slowly getting loaded. I'm trying to click on it. There we go. See, because they've spent so long waiting in no man's land, their supply status is critical. So that's another problem when you have trains that are held up um, with blockages. You really need to get on top of that situation. Otherwise, the delay flow on effect can take quite a while to clear. So this train, it's going to go down the line. It's going to sit at a supply tower for ages to refill, and then later on in the game, if you have stacks of trains running on that line, it just causes a cascading bottleneck which goes around the whole network. So it's you need to keep an eye on those sorts of situations. So that error message there, that's from our freight train that's running empty back from Portland, sorry, into Boston. Oh, we've got our quarterly balance. So what have we done? We've changed. Yeah, we got $1.25 million in bonuses. So if we didn't have all those bonuses, the game would be going a lot slower. So that's a good piece of game design by Calypso. So here's our Boston to Portland line, freight line. So we've picked up some beer, we've picked up some wood. That's all that's available to pick up at this stage. But later on, we'd also have excess sugar that we'd be able to collect for Portland, and also grain. Well, once those grain trains start kicking in. So if we were to look at the stock in Boston, you can see we've got more wood, more cattle on the way, or grain, sorry. Um, yeah, it's all accruing. So our population there, we're up to almost 23,000. You can see our fulfillment of demand is approaching 80%, and that's without corn. So the only resource that we're not providing to Boston at this stage is corn, and they're growing at a high rate, hence the double arrow. So if we were to look back on our task list, we're getting there with our passengers, and we're getting there with our population growth. So we should reach that in the next in the next few weeks, honestly, of game time. So, so next steps, I want to hook up this to Bangor. Um, we don't need that wood, I don't think, for now. That milk is in the wrong province, and let's see. So we've got another train waiting here for ages. Which one's this? Wheat to Albany. So this would be a similar problem. So Albany has reached its capacity for grain storage. So we've got 11 here. It's using 1.3 per week. It's got 6 on the way. Um, it's it's just going to end up taking up space in this station. So other ways to solve that would be to extend the number of platforms on that station. But there's probably more cost-effective measures that we could do to address that need. Um, so we've got some research points. Oh, task complete. Let's talk about that first. So you can have a rest. So we've done our passenger uh, fulfillment, which is good. So now we're just waiting to hit 25,000 residents in Boston. So that won't take long. You can already see that we've gone up by 700 or so, and it's only been not even a week of game time's gone by since we talked about it last. So that will be fulfilled very soon. So let's hook up this farm. I'm going to pause it while I do that. Actually, before we do, we were just silly me. We were going to talk about research and what's coming up. So we've got 180 innovation points at the moment, and the next thing, we've got no option but to research this next. So this is the speedometer. So that's handy. Increase the maximum speed of all early locomotives up to and including the John Bull by 5%. So that's pretty handy. A little bonus. Instead of going 34 k's an hour, it might go 35 k's an hour. So just by putting a device that measures how fast you're going, you can get it to go faster. It's logical, but is it really logical? I don't know. Let's not take the piss on the game designers. They're doing a good job. They're trying their best, and their best is pretty good. So don't be a smart ass to those guys, assuming they're guys. Smile for, of course they're guys. They're fucking train nerds. They're not going to be women. Jesus. Good point. Anyway, let's not be edgy. Let's just talk about your trains and shut up and piss off, Smile Pie. That's all we want from you. Oh, but I could have more to offer than just train commentary and no one cares, Smile Pie. Just bloody build this station, connect some sheep to the cotton mill or the wool mill, and then we can make some nice garments later on down in Portland. True. What happened there? Build and I've got plenty of money, so I'm not going to be fussy about platforms. So technically, we could get away with one platform. And hey, I don't think I set the direction of travel before, did I? No, I didn't. That's an oversight. Too focused on other things. Just one thing at a time, Smile Pie. Small bites. That's how you tackle a pie. That is true. All right, so we've hooked up this station, and let's do a train. So we're going to start here, go to here. We're going to make that full. We only want full trains coming. We don't need anything on that actually, so let's just click that away. It's a freight train, and it is an F1 wool, and it's going to Bangor. It's an interesting name for a city in North America that I assume would have been established in colonial times. So in the 16s or 1700s, maybe. So because it sounds very sort of Indian influence, but who knows? I don't know. I'm just looking at it through modern eyes. So we got the John Bull freight train. That's all. That's all good and well. So tick. The train line enters the station. What have I done? Maybe I need to put on some gridirons. Did I mess that up? I did. Let's so that'll sort that out. There we go. Unpaused. That's gonna go. So train here, loading up with wool. It's going to be a good day. And so we will need a freight train. Have I got the freight train running already? I don't. We're going to need a freight train from Bangor to Portland. So let's set that up now. So we'll start in Portland. We'll go up to Bangor. So let's call it freight. Let's do F2. Let's do John Bull with 1. There we go. Boom, boom. Done. So that will load up heaps. And while we're here, while we're at Portland, let's just go ahead and make the warehouse. So 140K for a warehouse, and let's put we want cloth to store in Portland. So that freight train's gonna bring down this cloth, and Bob's your uncle. I'm eyeing off this timber because bringing the wood from here to Bangor might be a problem unless we decide to store some here. So let's have a think. Let's just leave it for now. It'll come. So what is this saying? I click it away. I don't read it. The goods in the warehouse of your station have been waiting for onward transport for a long time. Yep, they'll do that. They will bloody do that. Now, what's this? This is our F2 from Boston to Albany. Why is it coming from that way? So something's stuffed up. Oh, it's not coming from that way. It's leaving the station. Yeah. All right. Jesus, Smile Pie, you're not having a good day, mate. You're talking a lot of gibberish and you're making mistakes. So just helpful hint, lift your game. What's going on? That's true. So we've got another month to wait until we've got the speedometer working or available. Our task list, we are just a few hundred off the 25K mark, so that's going to look good when we achieve that. All right, so everything is coming together as planned. So our next growth, from memory, we'll have to go to New York and do stuff. Oh, here we go. Our task is completed, so we will get a bunch of new tasks. So I've already done the people in this region. Here we go, new tasks. So let's pause the game for a moment and let's have a look. So transport a total of 4,800 passengers. So that's just across all lines everywhere. So we can achieve that. And then reach 30,000 citizens in Albany. And then the hint, if you need help, you can always open the tips and tricks. Well, good on us. So we're almost at 30K now for Albany. Albany. Is there a? I wonder what the locals how they pronounce it. Is it Albany or Albany? I don't know. I'm not local, so um, yeah. The only time I've seen a movie with Albany in it was Last of the Mohicans, and that's a great movie. It's one of my favourite movies. I went and saw that in the cinema when it came out. That's how old I am. Um, with me and my friends, we were teenagers back then. So that's that. Um, what are we short on in Albany? We need corn. So corn is the catch. We need textile and gut milk, baby. We'll be needing milk eventually as well, but not before we complete this goal. So milk is up here. So we need to milk leads to cheese. So you need to plan your industries ahead because you want to be able to yeah, capture all the resources in the right places. So hence this textile mill up here, the next logical industry in Portland would be a dress maker or clothing factory, and you turn those materials into clothes, and then you can distribute the clothes back and forth, to Boston, to Bangor. Um, you could have a train skip Boston all the way to Portland from Albany and pick up dresses from here down to here. And using the same logic, you could have your milk come here, have a cheese factory here, and you could be sending cheese up to these other cities as well back from here. So but as time goes by, what will happen is essentially you'll need to separate your freight trains from your express trains because as the game develops, your express trains get faster and your freight trains will be in the way of your fast passenger trains. So what we end up doing usually is having an entirely separate set of tracks for your freight lines, um, and that's where I think the game becomes a lot more fun, a lot more interesting. You solve a lot more problems. You create a lot more problems, but you also solve them, which is good. Um, so there's a dressmaker already in New York and a textile mill, so might be might be worthwhile purchasing this one down here as well. So that's a level 2 farm, so it's already chockers, but it's not being utilized. So let's see how much. 492, and we'll get probably 130k knocked off that. So we'll get that for. Let's just get it anyway. We're gonna get it. So Smile Pie goes all in, and what does he get? Yeah, 140, 344. So what did I say about 130 off? Just with my quick math, close enough, 160ish. So good on us. So purchasing that's good. Let's also check how much is this one going for. So let's just buy it anyway. Logging camps are always cheap and they're always good value. So 87 grand. We will eventually we have to go to New York, and this may come in handy. So yeah, we've got one that's feeding the warehouse here in Boston. But we may end up having this feed a warehouse in Albany or somewhere else. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, so next connection, we are seeking to get our passengers up. We are also seeking to get our deliveries up in Albany. So corn. So it's about time we sussed out our corn situation. So there's corn down here. So what's the best way to get it? Should we do a line to Syracuse and to Buffalo, and then just have the corn hook on. That's probably the way to go. Um, we can have a line curve around here, potentially to pick up these small businesses here. Um, that would that would keep our passenger numbers up if we just hooked up Syracuse and Buffalo. So it's probably the most logical way to go. So look at all the growth though in our cities. So Bangor's not doing much, but that's all right. But as these cities grow, their populations increase and their passenger volumes increase as well. So we may be able to squeeze a second train out of some of these places. So you can see that we're covering 97%, 95% of of passengers. Um, Boston to Albany, I thought that would be covered a bit more than what we're actually doing. So let's have a look at that. Boston to Albany. Why are you doing such a poor job? But let's just add a second train on there anyway, because it's not going to cost us much, and it will yeah, help us get our passenger numbers up. So that's added on there. Cattle train's waiting for 4 weeks now, so it is what it is. They're processing all the meat that they can. Actually, let's have a little look at the meatworks in Boston here. So it's not really utilised fully. We're stacked with cattle, but they're not loaded with meat. So let's upgrade this industry. How much is that going to cost? 440. Let's do that. So it will go through 3 cattle per week and produce 3.2 meat per week, and that will translate into more stock building up, stock in the city, so or stock in the warehouse. Let's check the warehouse. There's no stock in the warehouse because you haven't set it, but you can see what's coming in, so that's all good. Now let's get back to Syracuse. Maybe let our money build up for a little bit. So I'm just going to keep the conversation going while we wait for some money to come in. What else? The meatworks in Portland. Should we buy it? That's a interesting question because it's 100% utilized. So look at the price there, 405,000, which we'd get down by down to about 300,000. So should we build it? I mean, should we buy it? And then we would essentially control the meat that's going from Portland up to Bangor between these two cities. Um, I think it's worthwhile, but I'm not going to do it just yet. So the express train's waiting to be deployed. Let's make the game speed go a bit faster. See if that train gets deployed. Well, one of the things I like in Railway Empire 2 compared to 1 is when you put multiple trains on the same line, the the game will try and space them out as best it can, so that way you don't have all your repeater trains just bunched up together in a group. That it will try and put equal spacing, and then that way it will maximize the efficiency of passenger collection from each destination. So that's one of my observations. So now we've got this passenger line. That's a freight line. Where's old mate's passengers? Here we are. So that one's there. Our research points has come in, so we can do our speedometer. So before the speedo or the speedometer, or before the train, there was nothing in the world that required a speedometer. Oh, I guess you couldn't fit a speedo to a horse, but no, they needed them specifically for trains. So that's an interesting fact that I just made up. So good on me. But let's get the line to Syracuse underway. So we're going to have a station. I want it aligned in the same alignment as Albany for track or platform alignment reasons. So let's put that one here. So we've got this one in town. Now, do we want to buy this beer brewery? And the answer is no, because I've already got one at Albany. So yeah, I like everyone likes a good straight runner track, for future gridirons. That's the way. So let's double that. So yeah, we can link that and that together. So it's as simple as that. So we're going to build a bridge as part of this one. So there's a bit of grade going on, which if we turn on our topography, it's not, it's nothing too bad. So let's build that. We're getting a little bit low on our cash, just temporarily. So that's built. Let's set the directions. They're set, so that's good. Let's do a gridiron. So we've got a gridiron here, and we've already got one on the opposing end. Let's put some supply towers down. So I'll put one up towards this end, and should we do a second one? It's look, it won't hurt. Why not? So let's do that. And let's run some express trains. So Albany to Syracuse, express. Oh, oh. I'm having a good one. There we go. Albany, Syracuse. John Bull, nothing else needs to change. So boom, boom. And we don't need a freight train between these two because they're both running beer. So that's that. Yeah, technically we could run wheat from here up to here, but without any destination for the beer to be moved onto, it's just going to be a waste of time. So I won't do that. But next we will be heading down to Buffalo. And if I was to zoom out and have a look around at the next destination after Buffalo, well, Pittsburgh, that would be a journey. And then also London. So in terms of how we position our platform, if we wanted to get to London in the future, if we have a north-south alignment in Buffalo, it would be tricky to get around here or across this river or lake, I guess you could call it. I don't know if this is a river or classed as a lake in real life. I've never been to Buffalo before, or North America for that matter. One day maybe. You never know. So I think we'll check the task list one last time. What's this? Auction. These things always pop up when I don't have any money. So it would be worthwhile bidding on that one, but I don't have the money. So that's just too bad. Too bad for Smile Pie. So yeah. All right. So check the task list. Well, we've already done 1,000 passengers almost. That's in no time at all. So this will get done. Yeah, we've got a year and a half of game time to finish that. So that's going to be done quick, smart. we're almost at 30k for passengers of Albany. So I was going to cut the video short now, but I think we may as well get to 30k in Albany before we do that. So I'll keep rabbiting on until we get 30,000 people in this place. So not long now. One more iteration of time. So, I've never actually looked and measured if there are set increments when the pop ticks up. So is it done on a weekly basis or every few days? So I think it was 26 June when it popped up. So let's measure. That's this is good experimenting content that we're all on the journey together with. So 30 June, we haven't ticked. What's it going to be? Is it going to be 31 June? That doesn't sound right, does it? It's 1 July. Of course, I know my mum, so I'm just tricking. But we got another 750,000 in bonuses, but you can see how our passenger and freight numbers are different. We've also got a fair load of increase in mail. This is profit 68 grand from our factories. So as time goes by, that will exceed the purchase price of what we did for everything, and we'll be laughing. So it's good to keep an eye on costs. I do just look at this at a glance. Yeah, just to tell you where we're going. Where things could be squeezed. So this hasn't increased, but we've gone longer than a week. So and our fulfillment in demand is slowing. So what are we missing? Corn, meat, textiles, cloth, they call it. Did that tick up? It's ticking up very slowly. So yeah, well, I thought it would be I thought it'd be done by now, honestly, but we haven't clicked up yet. So I'm going to end the video on that note. So remember, audience, please like and subscribe and comment. Just comment about any topic that you like. Ideally about the video though, but whatever. And remember, with small bites, any pie can be eaten. So thank you. Bye for now.